Hello and welcome to the Mostly Magnificent video podcast. It is a dreary Tuesday here, very gray but muggy, and I have only one child home with me today. The older one is still on vacation with her grandparents, so I thought I would take this opportunity to record my first post-second baby episode. So you'll see she's down there in the corner. You can see little baby feet moving around. She's happy right now. So she will probably make a cameo at some point in this episode, but we'll see how far I can get without her. Anyway, so let's start things off. I finished something. This is very exciting. My knitting has been slow, and there's not a lot of knitting time. It turns out, this probably would surprise no one, that you have less time when you have two kids. So where I was often able to sneak some knitting in when I had one baby, now having one small baby plus one bigger kid, it's a lot harder. So I find I'm knitting very little. And the only reason I was able to get this done is actually because we spent a lot of time on a road trip this last couple weeks. So I had time in the car where there was nothing to do but knit. Alright, so this is the finished thing. It's not blocked or anything yet. I'm going to do that once I record. So this is the, it's called Zilver with a Z, and it is by Lisa Much and published in Northbound Knitting. So it's got sections of stockinette mixed in with sections of this garter ridge pattern, and the garter ridges are done with decreases and then increases, and so they give it just a little bit more interesting texture than just plain old garter. So you can see that. You can see it like that. And I knit it out of Magknitficent Merino, which is a fingering weight single ply yarn in the blackberry colorway. And I love this color. It's just got so much depth. It's a dark purple, but there's so many different tones. There's some hints of teal and some bits of pink, and it's really beautiful. My one complaint about the yarn is that it was a pain to wind. I actually ended up trying to wind one skein of it. I have it. And this is what happened. It's a tangled mess. And I didn't have time, because we were about to go away, to do anything about it. So I put it aside and ended up just winding the second skein, which was still a pain, but I just wound it by hand, and it took a long time, but it was okay. So I've never had that problem with Magknitficent before, so hopefully it was just kind of a random fluky thing, but it was pretty frustrating to have to deal with that. It was a nice pattern though. It was perfect actually for the situation I was in, where I was in the car and driving. I wasn't driving, but obviously. But the pattern was really easy to memorize, the whole thing, and I could just kind of knit and keep going. This is actually for a swap package, a group that I'm in of lovely, lovely women, and one man, are doing a kind of Christmas and summer kind of swap. Because when we did a Christmas one last year, a lot of people said that they didn't participate because Christmas is so busy and it's hard to find the time in amongst everything else that you have going on. So we decided, hey, why don't we try doing it in the summer? And that's what we're doing. So that's exciting. And I'm going to wash and block that, and hopefully it'll be dry pretty fast, and I can get it off in the mail. But good pattern, clearly written, nothing fancy, but good for where I'm at with my knitting right now. So for things that I have in progress, this is just a little top-down, plain stockinette 9-inch high sock out of the Floromania, and it is drop stitch. It was my labor sock. So both pregnancies, both babies, I wanted to have just some really, really super plain knitting that I could toss in my bag for the hospital, and then either have it like for during labor, if I felt like knitting, or afterwards. So in neither one of my deliveries was I up to knitting anything, because they both happened too quickly. But it is really nice to have just something simple afterwards, because I don't know about other people, but both times, once kind of the excitement had died down and everybody fell asleep, husband, baby, and everyone else, I was still super, super wired with just all the hormones and adrenaline and stuff like that. So I couldn't sleep. So I stayed up knitting a sock. Both times I regretted it the following day when I was exhausted and up all night with a cluster feeding baby. But I don't know. I couldn't make myself sleep. Even the second time around, knowing that that was my last chance for a while. So just, plain, it'll get done when it gets done kind of a thing. Nothing too exciting, but it's super bright and colorful and happy, and I like that. And the other thing I've been working on, this is going to be a pair of knee highs eventually, and it is Toe Up out of Yarntini self-striping merino in the vintage colorway, and then I used magenta for the toe, and I'll use that for the heels as well as the cuff. I'm hoping if I use the contrasting colors that I might be able to get a pair of knee highs out of a single skein, although I do have a second skein as backup just in case. I cast this on at the end of my pregnancy, the very end, because I finished most of what I wanted to finish for the baby, and I was just really at loose ends. I was feeling bored and impatient, and I decided, I need to cast on something new, just as something else to focus on instead of feeling like I was just waiting for things to happen. So that's that. And I've been making pretty decent progress on it. It is kind of potato chippy, as the knitwear girls would say. I get through one stripe and I knit another and another and another. And it's easy to pick up and put down. So I've kind of had it in the diaper bag for those times when I might have a few moments to knit. Anyway, that's all I've been knitting. So for other crafting, I have been working on my Once Upon a Time sampler. I am caught up. I'm working on August right now, but I will hopefully be able to get that done. But I actually managed to finish July, and I got June done as well. So you can't see June, but so far we've had Snow White, Frog Prince, Three Little Pigs, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Jack the Beanstalk, Princess and the Pea, Thumbelina, and the Town Musicians of Bremen, which is one that I was not familiar with. It's going well. I'm working the borders, so I've gotten the border down to here, and down to about here on this side. So as I finish the months now, I'm adding on to the border. So hopefully this will actually be able to be done in December so that I can give it to the girls for their Christmas present, because the idea is that this is going to go up in their room as part of the fairy tale theme. It is a Frosted Pumpkin stitchery pattern. It's a monthly sampler, so every month you get a new one. And I'm not really much of a cross stitcher. It's not something that I really do. But I think Karen from Around the Twist was working on it. I believe Leslie from the Knit Girls is also working on it. And because we're doing the fairy tale theme, it was just too perfect not to do it. So I decided that I was going to break out the cross stitching. It might be the only cross stitch project that I do, because I don't have a lot of use for a bunch of cross stitch in my decor, but it's fun. It's good times. Next up, I've been doing a bit of quilting. 2 friends of ours had babies recently. So one of them had their baby actually 2 weeks almost to the minute that our baby was born. And I'm making them a zombie quilt. because they're really into zombies. And we do a zombie walk with them every year. So the pattern, it's Zombie Apocalypse by Riley Blake. So it's got stuff like tips on surviving a zombie attack. It's just cute. And they had a little girl, so I added the pink just to make it a little more girly and baby-like. You can see I've got the pins in to baste it, and I've been working on the quilting. I've so far only gotten a few lines done. I just got it sandwiched yesterday, and I'm putting down a few lines of quilting every day when I have a chance. Next, this is the same pattern. It's called the 4-Patch Fun pattern. And I actually got the pattern in this kit for this quilt, which I'm making for another friend of ours. So this one is pretty much done. Well, not pretty much done. The quilting is all finished. There's the back. But I need to bury my threads and do the binding. And then it will be all done. And I'm excited to having these done. Since both babies are now born, I would like to get the quilts finished and off to them. I had hoped, of course, to get them done before the babies were born, but that just wasn't in the cards. They're fun little projects, though. Compared to the big castle quilt that I made for our baby, they're super, super fast. I finished piecing both quilt tops. Each of them took, I think, half a day, maybe, not even. Like half a day of, periodically doing some sewing here and there when I had a chance. And the quilting also took, the quilting of this one took, again, a couple of days of a line or two here and there. And that's the kind of project that I need right now because I only have time for here and there. And last but not least, some future stuff. So I've been thinking through my plans for my crafting for the next few months. I'm not going to be very ambitious, of course, because I don't have a lot of time. I'm hoping to knit Christmas dresses for the 2 girls. I think that'll be the next thing that I start working on. I'm finding that I need to be monogamous in my knitting right now, because if I'm not, then nothing is getting done. I don't feel motivated to work on things because I'm not seeing progress. So I think I need to just have one thing on the needles at a time right now and just work on it until it's done so I can feel like I'm making progress. Whereas if I'm just knitting a line or 2 here and there on 5 different projects, I'm never going to feel like things are getting done. And for sewing, I'm going to make some Frozen costumes. Because my daughter, like most almost 3-year-olds, is super into Frozen right now. She has one Anna dress that we got her in store, but she also wants the other Anna dress and an Elsa dress. So I'm going to make at least one of those for her dress up box, because she's really into dress up and play make-believe and stuff right now. And that's about it. So really short episode right now, but I wanted to get something out there, get back in the saddle, as it were. So thanks for watching. Happy knitting, and see you soon.